Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here, this time doing another TV series reviews, and this one is on The Boys Presents Diabolical. Now as you know, The Boys Presents Diabolical was an 8-episode TV series that premiered on Amazon Prime on March the 4th, 2022. I remember me and my roommate Kev were having a few beers, watching it and talking about it, and after sitting back to rewatch it again, the best I can say is that The Boys Diabolical is basically like the more superhero parodied version of the Animatrix and Batman Gotham Knights, doing the same typical formula, different story, different animation style, and with different studios. And this does become a running theme with when a series proves popular, it usually has a different animation style, and each story is meant to feature a different animation studio and a different animation style written by iconic people. And yeah, with the first episode being Laser Baby's Day Out, is meant to feature in a style of Looney Tunes and other old classic cartoons, one of which where a scientist known as Simon tries to save Laser Baby, who, yeah, after learning that the baby is going to be terminated, risks everything that he does to try and save Laser Baby. And the second episode being an animated show where yeah, a bunch of like like weak superpowered kids go and find out that they've basically been used as test subjects by their parents, hoping to get that big golden ticket power, and of course go off axing them off after learning why they abandoned them and the truth behind it. And this is meant to follow during the events of the episode Over the Hills with a Sword of 1,000 Men. And the only episode that doesn't feature in the TV show's continuity is the third episode, On Your Pusher, which is obviously meant to be in the style of the boys' comics, with, yeah, written by Garth Ennis, as well as being in the style of the boys' comics. And I remember talking with my roommate Kev, explaining him about the comic continuity and how it's a lot different. The only difference is the boys' comics works a bit more as a continuity because throughout it, Butcher manipulates, tricks, and makes Huey into a version of himself. And I think it's interesting how they even got Simon Pegg to voice Huey, and I think it's ironic because, yeah, Simon Huey's original appearance is based on Simon Pegg, and I think it does work. And I think one of the weaker episodes, I do think, which was written by Aquafina, was BFFs, which is doing the whole parody of the whole over-the-top anime style. It's going the whole cutesy-wootsy thing. And I just don't think Aquafina should have casted herself as Sky. I think they should have gone with someone like Brenda Song, Maya Erskine, or, yeah, maybe, I think maybe Lucy Liu, someone who could play this kind of kid-like character. I just don't think Aquafina was the right choice. Again, it's like having Tony Hale playing basically Batman, or it's kind of like having Kevin Conroy voicing a kind of cartoonish character, not Batman. There's just some things that aren't gonna work. But I think the last 3 episodes after it is where I think the series is trying to fix itself up a bit more. Like having the story Nubian versus Nubian, where we do see how their daughter tries to kind of get her parents to kind of get back together in a parent trap style. And I think episode 7 is where I think they do actually do quite an emotional story, where you do see how a elderly janitor known as John tries to save his wife but having to kind of realize that there are just some things that are beyond his power to fix. And I think the 8th episode, which is obviously meant to be a prequel, actually shows you the origin of Homelander. And they actually do a brilliant job showing how Homelander was just basically a little kid in an adult body. They just show you that he just wasn't ready to handle hostage situations just yet. It was clear Vought just released a giant child into a battlefield. And it does kind of explain how Homelander became the way he is. And it also shows you the dangers of kind of rushing people into things that they just aren't ready for, which I think is a sad, realistic thing, that some people just do not take responsibility for other people. And I think, to me, Boys Diabolical has its moments where it can be interesting, it can be good. But there's just moments where I think some things just don't work. There's moments where I think the series is interesting. It's just mixing with a bit of good and a bit of bad. And I think, obviously, with the 2nd episode, it doesn't really help the fact that Justin Roiland got himself in trouble when he got exposed. And I just don't think Awkwafina knows how to write a good story. And the animation style with her episodes makes me feel like they were going with the whole cutesy-wootsy, over-the-top anime stuff that just doesn't fit. And I think it's just clear Awkwafina is no actress. And I think there's just some people who aren't meant to be cut out for things. But I think the rest of it is trying to be this typical Animatrix Gotham Knight style. And I think there's a reason I could definitely see Sonic pulling this off as well with the other IDW spin-off comics. And I have talked about this multiple times in my channel. So I think The Boys Presents Diabolical is a mix of good, bad, but trying to be something it knows it has to be. So I think it definitely deserves 2 thumbs in the middles. While not a bad idea for a series, it has its moments where it can be redeemable, but moments where it can fall flat. So, Comic Book Reviewer here, signing out.